It's good, guys. So, if I had to start over all the way from scratch with my agency making $0, and let's say in this scenario, I had no experience, I didn't know anything about what I was doing, nothing at all, this is exactly what I would do. Okay. Now, as much as in my journey, I leveraged a lot of my time, I didn't do this, right? Hence why this video is the whole thing is what I would have done if I could have went back or if I was starting back right now, is that I leveraged my time too much. Okay. And at one point, like, yes, it's good, but another thing is that you don't really have to, right? You don't have to like grind and be like the super hardcore that, oh shit, this is shit has to I have to grind, I have to do this, I have to just be locked in 12 hours and I have to fail this. Like, all that is true, yes, but that like whole mindset of just kind of working hard without working smart is just BS, right? So work smart, right, while working hard. Now, the way that you're going to do this is quite simple, okay? And this is the way that I would recommend everybody doing it if you are starting any business, but like in particular an agency, right? So I think everybody would be familiar with like the two main currencies that we have when it comes to giving something and getting something in return, right? Number one is quite obvious. It is time, right? So you can spend all of your time. You can do cold calls, you can do cold SMS, you can do email outreach. You can leverage your time, right? And in this beginning, this is like what you have the most of, right? If you ask like a billionaire that is making 15 billion a year and he's like just mega giga rich guy, this is like the thing that he lacks, right? He doesn't have this, he has money, so he can leverage money, right? But you have a lot of time, right? So the mistake, and the reason I'm calling this a mistake is because there's a better way to do it now, and there's always have been, but not a lot of people think about it. Like, you can leverage time, yes, and it's not a bad thing to do. Like, I did the same thing, but I wouldn't have done it today. If you leverage your time, you're literally spending maybe 6 to 8 like hours a day doing a certain thing like cold calling or cold SMS or whatever it is, to then get to a certain point where you're going to be competing with 15 other like agencies and doing the same exact thing, right? It doesn't really make sense. Now, if you want to be smart about it and really smartly scale your agency, leverage your time in a different way. Okay. And I'm going to get to this, like, especially how you're going to do this. But the other point of like how you're going to be able to make more money, be able to scale an agency, is by leveraging money, right? In the beginning, that is what you don't have, right? You don't have a lot of money. Like, yes, I mean, maybe if you have 10 grand laying around, I still wouldn't have even recommended spending that, because it is something that you just want to have just in case. But out of time and out of money, time is the one that you want to spend. Now, you can either choose to spend a lot of your time in the business and doing cold calls, doing exactly what we said, which is, again, it's okay, but there's a better way to spend your time. And the better way, which might be very contradictory to the feedback and the like whatever you hear nowadays online, is get a 9 to 5. And I'm not laughing because it's bad. I'm laughing because this is like something that not a lot of people expect, especially when it comes to like this industry where you're like working online and you're scaling your business. You don't hear people talking about getting a 9 to 5, but this is arguably, like, I'd say, the best thing that you can do when you're starting off. Reason number one is because it's going to allow you to realize the fact that, you know what, I do not ever want to be in a 9 to 5. I don't ever want to work for someone. So that's like an external motivation. Other thing is that it's going to learn you, like, you're going to be able to learn like that you gotta actually spend your money wisely and you cannot waste your time, because this is exactly where you're going to end up, right? The whole goal with this method on how like you start over and get to a certain point, be that 10K, 15K, 20K, 30K, is that you use your 9 to 5 to fund your 5 to 9, right? So after like after you're working your 9 to 5 or whatever work you have, if it's part time, whatever it is, as long as you're making money, you use that money and you leverage it into the actual 5 to 9, right? And the way that you can do this is by two ways. I personally recommend, when you're starting off, if you don't have a mentor, if you don't have somebody to learn from, somebody that can help you, start off with cold SMS. Okay, I have a bunch of videos on like bulk SMS and the way that you would do it and what I would recommend. But to start off with bulk SMS, right, it is the easiest and best way to start getting paid, right? And honestly, the best way, especially when you're working in a 9 to 5, because if you're just sending messages the whole like business day from 9 to 5, you're not actively calling, you're only responding back to messages you get back, and you have to call them. And you can always just go to the bathroom, take a break, whatever you got to do, especially for those guys and girls, if you're watching, that have flexible jobs where you are a Uber driver, where you're driving around, or where you deliver food, or where you work as a like in a parking place where you can go give tickets, where you like deliver newspapers or whatever it is. When you have a flexible job, you can call and do whatever you want whenever you want to do. For context, this is the exact job that I got when I like kind of quit my real estate agency and went into the one I'm in right now. In that period, I got a job, right? And I got a job delivering at like 2 a.m. to like 4 a.m. at night, my time. And I was delivering like newspapers to people's doors, right? So you do something like that where you can actually respond. You're going to be able to fund a lot of this, right? And for context, let's say we do the numbers on it, right? Let's say it costs, let's start off with the work, right? So let's say you're working a 9 to 5. And in this context, just to kind of keep it as simple as possible, I'm not going to count in like rent and et cetera, et cetera. If you have that, like count it in yourself. At this point, what I'm counting is like what you keep in your pocket, right? So let's say just on like a very, very base average, if you can make like at least in your pocket, like even like, I mean, even like 1 point, let's say 1.5K, right? I know that was what I was able to make like when I was working that job that I did. 1.5K. Let's say you can make that in a month or whatever it is. And this is like, I mean, if you do have rent, etc., this might be after, this might be before, but roughly around here, like 1 to 1.5K. If you can get that money and you can leverage it back into the bulk SMS, like this is what the numbers would look like. You're then able to, I mean, roughly when I did bulk SMS, I did 600 a day, and for every 600 I sent, now this might be expensive, but I was sending for at least like 25 bucks a day, which means that if we're spending 1.5K in a month, right, we can roughly send like double this, right? So we can roughly send 1,200 a day, right? So if we're sending 1,200 a day, right, and we get let's say we get a 2% like positive response rate, right? That might actually be a little bit high, but let's just say we get 2%, which is 24 positive responses in the day. Out of those, we have a 35% booking rate, right? We roughly book around eight appointments. And these are very conservative numbers as well, because I was able to hit quite similar ones. But if you're starting off, like even, I'm going to show you guys what we're going to do. But let's say you book 8 meetings a day, 40% show up, right? That's another like, okay, so 3 people show up, and this would be per day, right? Now, let's consider the fact that if this is like conservative numbers, let's say that out of this, man, you only get 12, right? You get half of it, right? Out of 8, you only get 4. And out of 3, you only get 1.5 show-ups a day, right? Even if you just get 1.5 show-ups a day, you times that by like, you times 1.5 by 30, and you're already at like 45 show-ups in the month. And then you can ask yourself, like, how many people out of 45 would you actually close, right? That's like the numbers behind it, right? And what you can be able to push. And this is all like outside of your 9 to 5. As soon as you've made enough to like fund your 9 to 5, right? As soon as you've gotten 2 clients, maybe 1 client paying you 1.5K, or you got 2 clients, as soon as you've got it, like, and as soon as you've kind of noticed that, hey, I got this kind of going, this is working a little bit okay, at that point, you then start going fully into your business and spend that money, reinvest it. This is exactly what I did as well. And this is the exact route, or I mean, I didn't do it when I first started out. I wish I did, but I did it like after the initial period where I tried to learn, but I failed, and I failed miserably, and I kept kind of falling, and then I had to start all over again. This is what I would do, just because it allows you to leverage your time a lot better, right? That's literally what it does from the whole beginning. And a lot of people, you guys might be watching this and thinking, hey, but if I'm making $1,500 a month, why don't I just reinvest it into ads, right? Why don't I just put $50 a day into ads? It works, but again, like looping back to it, it is only if you are working closely with someone as like a mentor, or you're in a group, or you have somewhat way of getting access to someone that is actively running ads. It is 1,000% worth it, because at that point, even if you don't necessarily have the experience, you can leverage the experience of somebody you're working with, and they can help you out as well with it, right? So that is the only time I would recommend it. Other than that, cold SMS is literally going to be able to help you develop the skills and the frameworks of everything that you need to be able to get to north of 10K per month, like easily, right? And this is why, like, I don't really regret the way that I did it, because everything happens for a reason. Yes, maybe I would have been where I'm at right now a lot quicker and a lot faster, but I mean, God has his plans, and I'm just in the middle of it, right? So overall, what happened to me is what was supposed to happen to me, and I'm happy it happened the way that it did, and I'm happy it's going the way that it's going. But overall, that's why I don't really regret it. But if I could go back and I could choose and I could look at myself right now, I would have done that 1,000%. I would have leveraged all that money that I could make in the beginning and just push it into the business and spend money instead of spending my time, right? Reason is because, I mean, you can do, for example, 600 cold calls, 700 cold calls, 800 cold calls. Thing is, there's not enough leverage there. You don't have enough leverage for the amount of output that you're getting, right? You have the input, but it's just not enough. You can potentially get 5 setters on your team. Like I had in real estate, I had 5 setters working for me doing cold calls. And that's when you would increase the input. But then again, if those setters are bad, if they're not performing, etc., it becomes issues, right? So you have to always navigate that around. Best way is to just do it where you have a lot more leverage. For example, with your time, cold SMS, you have a lot of it. And then slowly but surely, you can then transition out of it, right? This is a lot easier than a lot of people make it, and a lot like simpler than a lot of people make it. When you do this breakdown and you do see the numbers on it, it suddenly starts making a lot more sense on like what you're doing and overall the way that you can kind of make it go, right? Another thing is, in the beginning, I would recommend, this is another thing that people like might not even recommend nowadays, is run free trials. Okay? Run free trials. And the reason I say this is because when you're starting out, the last thing you want to do is get paid for something you don't know how to do. And some people might watch this and be like, "Oh, fuck it, I'm unethical. I don't care about people's money. I don't care about this, that, and this, that." Like you might not care about it, but the whole point of doing, like, running a successful agency, a business in itself, is to learn and give the best service that you can, especially in service-based businesses, right? So when you can allow yourself to train and get your hands dirty without relying on somebody to pay you, or without somebody having to pay you, one, it's a lot less effort on their end to be able to actually do it, a lot easier sale, and also you don't have to stress around. You can actually focus on the learning aspect of things. As soon as you've gotten like your 3 to 4 first clients, you're going to be able to know a lot about how to onboard, how to scale, how to start ads, how to create ads, how to formulate ads, whatever you got to do to be able to push it, right? You're going to be able to easily know that, right? And as soon as you know that, like on your 5th client that actually pays you, if they pay you 1.5K, 2K a month, that's all of a sudden not an issue for you, right? All of a sudden you know how to do it instead of stressing for your first client. Also, like when you are trying to sell your first client just based on that, it's just not going to work, right? It's just not going to work. It's not going to be a good thing. It just is not worth it, okay? Now, I wanted to keep this video a little bit longer, but that is like a super simple video. I just have this on my mind, and like I said in my last video, I wanted to kind of start posting some stuff as well, a bit specifically towards the agency. I have 2 other videos in mind. One is specifically about my agency. I'm doing probably the biggest change that I've ever made, or the biggest like revamp or switch that I'm making right now in my agency, which I'm kind of excited for, kind of not that excited for, but I think it is the right call. I've made my decision on it. I've spent some time on it, and overall I think it's the right call. So I'll probably introduce that with you guys towards the next couple of days. And another thing is, I also want to go over some sales call recordings as well, post it up on YouTube, give myself some reviews. I'm probably going to do it on one of my calls when I started off, just to kind of look back at it and see like what went wrong, what I could have done better, etc. Right? So hopefully this video like kind of helped someone out, like to be able to at least understand and navigate through it and make sure that you do things properly. And if you guys have any questions, obviously feel free to reach out on IG. Feel free to leave a question in the comments as well. If not, wish you guys the best. Remember, you owe it to yourself to be great, and we will talk very, very shortly. Peace out, guys.